Hello everybody, my name is Karryshh and I'm back with another Riga video. This time it's a good Japanese horror. It's half found footage and half like a normal feature film. And I think it was a good combo for indie filmmakers. You see, this movie is directed by a guy named Hiroki who actually plays the lead in this movie, and he's also a huge influencer in Japan. It was a low budget film where Hiroki tells us about the strange things that happened to his life, and we focus on one particular incident. It was a good one. I actually enjoyed it, so stick around till end now. Like this video, subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends to make my day a beautiful one. Also join me on Instagram where we can chat. With that said, sit back and relax as I recap Kakari, Possessed, Japanese horror recap. This story begins with a girl meeting a guy named Hiroki, who's actually a big influencer in Japan. Hiroki wanted to make a horror movie, and this girl was going to help him shoot it. Now it's worth mentioning again that Hiroki is a real influencer and he's the actual director of this movie. In this movie, he will also talk about some real life experiences he had, so that's why this film is partially based on a true story. Now, in the middle of their meeting, a man comes in and tells Hiroki that the company wants to do an interview with him right now. It was meant to be a surprise, so they put a blindfold on him. Hiroki agrees and they drive for about 2 hours because the interview was supposed to take place at a special location. When they finally stop, they have him stand in front of a huge building. This place was in Japan's Tochigi Prefecture and it's called Oya Grand Center. It was built in 1950s and used to host shows, but after the shows stopped, the building was abandoned. People say there have been multiple murders and unalivement there, which is why it's considered extremely haunted. In one of the rooms, water constantly drips from the ceiling, and if anyone touches it, they supposedly die within a week. The interviewer tells Hiroki about this cursed water and explains that no matter how hot it gets, the water never dries up. The plan was for the interview to explore the building with Hiroki while also doing the interview. We learned that Hiroki uploads a lot of psychic related videos on his channel, which is why the studio brought him here. Anyway, they head toward the creepy place, reach the entrance, turn on their flashlight and step inside. The inside was a complete wreck, so they had to watch their step. Hiroki then gets the feeling that someone is watching him, even though there was no one there. After this, Hiroki shares a story about the time he and his team visited a haunted tunnel. The scene cuts to that tunnel and we're told that the tunnel is known for people mysteriously disappearing. As they enter the tunnel, Hiroki's team felt like they were spirits standing deep inside, staring at them. When Hiroki walked further in, he started hearing strange growling noises. Then, he felt something poke his hand hard, enough to cause pain. But as soon as they left the tunnel, the pain disappeared. Now back in the present, Hiroki and the interviewer continue exploring. They find a bathroom that's in better shape than the rest of the building with a decent view, but something strange catches their attention. There were footprints on the ceiling, which seemed impossible. The investigation then takes them to a darker area, and that reminds Hiroki of another experience when his team visited Osaka's Inunaki Tunnel. And yes, that's the same haunted tunnel the movie Howling Village is based upon. In that past trip, as soon as they entered the tunnel, they heard a man and a woman laughing. They assumed it was coming from the other end, but the tunnel was completely straight and no one was visible. The laughter went on for a while before stopping abruptly. They checked the other side as well but found no sign of anyone ever being there. On the way back, Hiroki felt a heavy pressure on his shoulders and his whole body broke out in goosebumps. After telling that story, Hiroki and the interviewer continue their way through the building until they reach a break room with holes all over the walls. They sit down and the interviewer asks Hiroki about the scariest experience he's ever had. That's when Hiroki starts talking about Kohoku Bridge, another one of Japan's haunted spots. Hiroki and his team once went to Kohoku Bridge, which according to local stories, has had a lot of mysterious car accidents with no clear explanation. Hiroki believes people see a ghost of a woman on the bridge and drivers get so scared that they lose control of their cars. That night, While Hiroki was walking across the bridge, he suddenly heard a voice say, Oni-chan,
そういう意味合いで言ってんじゃないのみんな恋愛に
which means big brother. And this wasn't just in his head, it was actually recorded. Now, if you listen to that clip carefully, you can hear that word, Oni-chan.
そういう意味合いで言ってんじゃないのみんな言ってんじゃないのみんな言ってんじゃないのみんな言ってんじゃないのみんなそういう意味合いで言ってんじゃないのみんな
Anyway, after sharing that story, Hiroki and the interviewer head to the second floor and enter the reception room, where they suddenly hear the sound of wood breaking, but they ignore it. Next, they go to the kitchen where Hiroki talks about something from his childhood, how his toys used to move on their own. A battery-powered car once turned by itself without batteries. He also used to see a little girl who would knock on the bathroom door whenever he went in. Not even that, when he took a bath, she would always stand outside and stare at him. To this day, Hiroki doesn't know who she was, but he thinks maybe she just wanted to play with him. Then, years later, after becoming an influencer, Hiroki returned to that place with friends to investigate. While they were there, they found a large statue, and for a split second, the same little girl peeked out from behind it. According to Hiroki, the footage of this movement is completely real. Anyway, by now it's nighttime and Hiroki and the interviewer start hearing strange noises around the building. They take a creepy staircase up to the roof where they find the cursed puddle of water that never dries up. It is said that if you touch it, you'll die within a week, but obviously Hiroki doesn't touch it. He explains that he has some psychic abilities now, but he didn't have those abilities always. Something extremely creepy happened to him back in school, and that's when he gained those powers. From here, Hiroki starts telling his main story, which takes us back to his childhood. One day, he and his three friends, Yamashita, Yuka, and Hiromu, went to an island to shoot a haunted video cause the place was rumored to be haunted. They were excited, and when they arrived at the island, they began exploring. The island was mostly empty with no one else inside. Then, suddenly, Hiroki saw a little girl in red dress. She waved at him and he waved back, but in the next moment, Hiroki woke up in his bedroom at home. His friends were nearby playing cards, and when Hiroki asked what happened on the island, his friends laughed because according to him, they never even went there. Hiroki thought maybe he had just dreamed about it, but when he went to wash his face, he found a red stone in his pocket. Not only that, but the little girl was now standing there staring at him. Then after this, Hiroki asked his friends who put the stone in his pocket, and his friends told him that he had taken it from the island himself. That's when he realized they had gone to the island actually, and his friends were just messing with him earlier. But here's the strange part. He only remembered getting on the boat. He had no memory at all of what happened on the island. That night, Hiroki stayed at that stone, trying to remember what happened on the island, but nothing came back. Then, he started looking through photos from the trip. In some photos, he saw an abandoned place, and in one photo, behind a gate, the same creepy little girl was peeking at him. Hiroki froze in fear, and then suddenly in real life, that same girl came right up to him and scared him badly. The next day, Hiroki shows the photo on his phone to his friends, and they hand him a video camera containing the footage they shot for their horror video. Hiroki sits down to watch it, and in the video on the boat, everything looked normal. Once they reached the island, they started investigating some old abandoned houses, but after a while, Hiroki suddenly disappeared. The other three eventually found him, but he was acting strangely, almost as if he was possessed, silently walking somewhere. Hiroki's friends followed him until he led them to a factory. Still, in that possessed state, Hiroki walked inside, and in this creepy dark place, they came across a hallway completely swallowed in darkness. At the entrance, there was a rope tied across and a bowl with something placed inside it, clearly meant to block or contain whatever was on the other side, and it was obviously something creepy and evil. Hiroki was still silent and he began taking pictures of the hallway. The place had such a disturbing vibe that the other three ran away, but Hiroki didn't follow. They went back to get him, but by then, he had stepped over the rope, crossed to the other side, and taken another picture. That photo turns out to be the one where the creepy little girl was captured. After that, Hiroki left the factory with his friends, but he was still not speaking. When his friends asked him what was going on, he says he needs to take a souvenir like a stone from the island back home. Then he walked somewhere and picked up the same red stone. Obviously, everyone thought it was pretty weird, and that's where the video ended. Hiroki was left confused because still, he couldn't remember anything about what happened there. His friends, on the other hand, were thrilled after spotting the girl in the photo because they now had a real ghost picture, which is rare. They all transferred that image to their own phones, and then that evening around 7 p.m., Hiroki was searching for the red stone in his room but couldn't find it anywhere. Then his brother shows up, telling him to stop the fuss cause it's midnight. This shocked Hiroki cause just 2 minutes ago it had been 7 p.m. Then after his brother leave, we see the little girl standing behind Hiroki. Basically, he's super duper cursed now. The next day, while heading home from school, Hiroki started hearing creepy whispers and then he became possessed. The school gate slammed shut on its own and Hiroki crashed into it on his bike. When he regained consciousness, he saw an evil spirit outside the gate. In a blink of an eye, it appeared right in front of him and then the little girl took its place. Terrified, Hiroki once again passes out. This time when he wakes up, he finds himself in the school infirmary with a nurse named Yumiko. She told him what had happened and warned him not to get out of bed. But since Hiroki wanted to go home, he got up anyway. That's when the little girl grabbed his leg. But what was more disturbing was that Yumiko was able to see her as well. Hiroki fell to the floor in fear and the ghost vanished. Yumiko then explains that she can see spirits and that little girl had followed Hiroki into the medical room. Now after this, Hiroki tells Yumiko everything that had happened to him so far. Then Yumiko looks at the cursed girl's photo and says she thinks that the island's curse might actually be inside that picture. She warns Hiroki that he and all his friends need to delete it from their phones immediately because the curse is powerful enough to unalive him. She also believes the little girl isn't the real threat. She's just trying to warn him. The real evil spirits does not include her. Actually, when they left the island, multiple spirits followed Hiroki back and the little girl is the only good one among them. That day, Hiroki deletes the cursed photo from his phone, but even after deleting it, he still sees the little girl. He freaks out and then a notification pops up on his phone that makes his heart sink because Yuka has been in an accident. The scene cuts to Yuka, who was playing basketball at school. In the middle of the game, everyone around him suddenly vanished. He froze in fear. Then, out of nowhere, some invisible force snapped his leg horribly. The next day, Hiroki is talking to Hiromu about Yuka's accident. Hiromi had spoken to Yuka on the phone and he knew the truth. Actually, you see, yesterday, Yuka had seen a demonic girl spirit and in the blink of an eye, she came closer to him. Not only that, that spirit was the one who broke his leg. Hearing this, Hiroki realizes the curse had spread to all his friends. He immediately tells Hiromu to delete the photo from his phone, and when Yamashita shows up, Hiroki tells him to do the same. He explains that nurse Yumiko was the one who told him to do that, and after they delete the photo, Hiroki goes to a temple after school to pray. But while he's there, the girl in the red dress appears behind him, only for him to wake up and realize it was just a dream. The next morning, as Hiroki is getting ready for school, Yamashita calls. He says something evil is going on at the school because all the students have suddenly vanished and he's the only one left wandering the hallways. Then Yamashita sees a boy and starts following him right before the call cuts out. Hiroki realizes Yamashita is in trouble and runs to save him. Meanwhile, Yamashita follows the boy to the school stairs area where an invisible force suddenly shoves Yamashita hard on the ground. Yamashita ends up in the hospital and worried, Hiroki and Hiromu go to Yumiko. Hiroki explains how the cursed things are still happening to him even though everyone had deleted the photo. Yumiko asks him to tell her exactly what happened on the island, and soon she learns about the red stone. That's when she realizes that the curse isn't in the photo, it's inside the stone. She asks for the stone, but Hiroki cannot remember where it is, but Hiromu does. He says Hiroki had brought it to the school and locked it in his locker, but cause of the curse, he forgot he did that. Hiroki runs to get the stone, but the moment he touches the locker, he gets a shock. Using his shirt to protect his hand, he opens the locker and he is horrified because the stone had turned evil. It had filled the entire locker with bugs and blood. Grabbing the stone, Hiroki runs back toward Yumiko and Hiromu, but on the way, three evil spirits appear, blocking his path. He takes another path, but he trips on the way and falls. The stone slips from his hand, and as he reaches for it, another evil spirit appears right in front of him. Blood and teeth start falling from the spirit's mouth, sending chills down his spine. But right then, Yumiko shows up, and the moment she does, all the spirits disappear. She and Hiromu help Hiroki up, and Yumiko performs a ritual to seal the stone inside a box. She tells Hiroki that she'll have it blessed and will send it back to the island, but she also warns him that even though the curse is gone, this whole incident will change his life forever. But how? That's something only he will understand. Now that evening, Hiroki and Hiromu head home. They're relieved that everything is finally over, but on the way, Hiroki sees a spirit that only he can see, and that's when he realizes he now has the psychic abilities that will stay with him for life. And that's how Hiroki got his powers. The story ends here and jumps back to the present, where Hiroki finished telling the story to the interviewer. And we also find out that to this day, Hiroki has never regained any of his memories from the island. Then, the interviewer gets a call saying his team is waiting downstairs to pick him up because it's pouring outside. As they're about to leave, the interviewer suddenly turns off the light in fear. He saw something. He switches on the night vision camera, and there's the ghost of a woman casually walking in the reception room. Both Hiroki and the interviewer panic and they run for their lives out of the building. But on their way, they find strange evil incantations everywhere. As they reach the ground floor, the interviewer spots a chair moving on its own. Hiroki tells him to wait while he checks the chair out, but suddenly, Hiroki sees a man, and then he vanishes. His camera just dropped to the ground. The interviewer is in shock and he has no idea where Hiroki went. Then he hears a phone ringing from upstairs. The interviewer follows the sound to the second floor and finds the phone, but out of nowhere, a evil spirit grabs him and unalives him. And that's where this movie ends, which is why they say you should always stay away from cursed places. So this was the recap video of the movie Kakari, Possessed, and I hope you have liked this video. If you have, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel because it helps me out a lot and I'm really pouring my heart into this content for you. You can also join me on Instagram where I reply to everyone. Now, if you want to watch this movie, it's actually on YouTube, so you can just search the title and you'll find the movie. But if you have any trouble, I'll send the link of this movie to my Telegram channel, so go join that. Also look into my third channel where I discuss about the mysteries of the world. And recently I spotted something that looked like a UFO in the sky, and I did made a short video of it, so go check that out and let me know what do you think, if it's a UFO or maybe my head is just messing around with me. For now, I see you all in the next one. Till then, stay awake, cause they always see you.